And time now for the Picks panel. Joining me this morning, Picks 11 political reporter Henry Rosoff, and from our sister station, WTEN in Albany, reporter Jamie Deline. Good to have you both here.
Good morning.
So let's begin with the homeless and migrant crisis. New developments this past week. So Henry, you've been covering the migrants relocating right from the Watson Hotel, that whole story that played out. Now we know a number of migrants boarded buses to Canada, but many returned due to weather. But I want to talk about the Canada issue for a second, because the New York Times is reporting they were bused to Canada. The mayor denying that report. What's somewhere in the middle? Is there the truth?
It may, in fact, be a middle ground here, because what the mayor's office has said they've been doing for quite a while now is if migrants want to go elsewhere in continental North America, including Canada, but mainly out west in the United States, is they'll buy a bus ticket if they have family or friends or someone else that they can stay with here to take the burden off the city. So there is a busing program, but it's more of an a la carte, case-by-case basis thing. The mayor and his staff blanketly denying that there was some sort of concerted effort to ship people to Canada because of the burden of caring for so many migrants and asylum seekers at this point.
Yeah, just to button that up, we did have the governor on the morning show last week talking about that budget that you covered, Jamie, a third being paid by the state, a third by the city, a third by the feds, although she hasn't gotten the pledge from the feds to actually cover that third. But to be continued. Jamie, I want to talk to you about some reporting that was out there. New York Assembly Speaker Carl Hastie not taking questions from the New York Post. Let's begin there, right? What is the issue going on with the New York Post and Carl Hastie?
Well, Carl Hastie says that he doesn't like some of the stories that the Post has been writing about them, in particular, a story that the editorial board did about Raise the Age. So therefore, he hasn't been taking questions from one of their Capitol reporters here, who is a member of the LCA.
And so then there was that LCA letter, right, that was sent. Explain that to me, what the LCA is, and that letter about reporter access within the halls of the Capitol.
Now, it's important to note that the issue with the New York Post is separate from the issue that the LCA, which is the Legislative Correspondents Association, is doing. So the LCA wrote a letter to Speaker Carl Hastie asking for access to be restored in the back of the Assembly chamber. This is an area where many reporters before COVID used to go, and they would meet up with lawmakers, they would ask them questions, even do interviews sometimes. So the reporters that were working here before COVID would just like that restored. They just want to have more access to those lawmakers.
And is there any answer?
Not yet.
Not yet. Seems to continue, right? All right, let's talk about the other big news that played out last week. Henry, you were covering the State of the Union, right? It was one of the more lively and feisty ones, I guess, in recent years. The president calling out Republicans about Social Security and Medicare from the pulpit. But there was this moment beforehand with Mitt Romney and George Santos, which brings me to George Santos, because there's yet again another saga, this time involving...
What would a panel be without a question about
bad checks and Amish dog breeders? Yes. What's happening here?
Well, to put a button on the State of the Union issue first, George Santos was waiting to kind of greet the senators and the president and his administration as they were coming in. What Mitt Romney said is, someone who's under investigation like you should be sitting in the back quietly, and really you shouldn't be here, period. And there was this back and forth where Congressman Santos said that's not very Mormon-like of you. It got a little bit nasty. But these are just two new investigations. And just late last week, we saw, again, led by the Bronx's Richie Torres, a resolution being put out there by Democrats to directly expel him from the House. We don't think and don't know if it'll get traction from Republicans just yet. Speaker Kevin McCarthy has been hesitant to do this until after the ethics investigation.
We shall see. Everything's to be continued today, right? Because it's just things that are just ongoing. But Jamie, I want to talk about the governor and her budget for a second, right? Real quick, we only have 20 seconds left. She had the big meeting with in Washington, D.C. with the legislators from New York State. What came out of that meeting in D.C.?
Yeah, Governor Hochul met with the bipartisan congressional delegation, and she says that she's really hoping that they can have a collaboration between everyone, and they're hoping that this can be a way to help better the economy and just make New York more affordable overall.
And George Santos was not there for that meeting, right?
Exactly.
Not invited.
Not invited. Not invited. There you go. All right, Jamie, Henry, we're out of time. Good to see you both. We'll be right back, everybody.